Hello everybody. Today's video we're going to be working on several trees actually. We're going to be working on the Japanese bayberries and some other tree I can't pronounce, and a Japanese holly. We'll be trying to put 3 of them into these little bitty pots, and we've got a terracotta pot for the other one, the unfortunate one that won't fit in one of the cool looking bonsai pots. Let's take a look at these trees. Alright, you might remember I just had a video out on this guy. Now this is one I just picked up, and it's called a Crimson Pygmy Barberry Nana. And it's got the cool, it's already pretty much a bonsai tree. It just didn't know it yet. So it's already got, and if I want to go windswept, I'll pan out here a little bit. You could actually trim up some of this. It's already even has a windswept style going for it. So we've also got another Japanese, well this one, yeah, another Japanese here. This one's called a Crimson Pygmy. Now this one doesn't have near, I'll put them together here. You can tell this one is nothing compared to this guy. But since I already have it, I'm going to try to put it into a little something, maybe even just a terracotta pot. Get initial start to it. Since it's the only other one I have, I had 2 of these. I figured I'd throw it in the video. And then since this guy I haven't done anything with, I figured I'd include this one right along for the ride. This one's going to be real easy. You can see it's got some crazy movement on the trunk, twists around, comes over to here. Even these branches have some cool movement. These 2 long straight shoots have got to go there. Just because it has the Japanese name in it, I also have 3 or 4 of these left, these Japanese hollies, and I haven't had time to work on the one since Vanessa's tree. I figure I'll just throw this guy into a pot. So that's what we're going to do. We're shooting to get these 4 guys initial styling done, put into a bonsai pot or terracotta pot, and go from there. Okay, the first thing we're going to do with this one is different than the others. We're actually going to get it up and see. We know that's the level we're wanting. We don't want to go down any further. I can tell that it's only going to get worse. We may even actually come up just a touch with the soil, like to here with the bonsai soil. So we don't want to bring this down anymore, so we're going to take it off pretty shallow, as far as shaved down. Not too far from that. I'll shape it to where it'll fit in the pot, but we're pretty much done with that. We'll move on to something like that. And I need to take just a little more off to get it down in there. Alright, we got some bonsai soil in the bottom. We're going to put this guy in and then fill it in. Since it does have a natural I'm not going to wire it in. It sets down kind of flat in the way I want it to. Anywhere near all of my stuff. So we're kind of doing a lot of this strictly by hand. But we'll get this all worked in, get it watered, and then we'll do a little bit of a styling on it. Alright, so we've got it in a pot. Now we're going to do a little bit of trimming on it. But I think I'm going to go ahead and get the others figured out which pot I'm going to put them in. Alright, before I go to potting up all these other trees, I'm going to show you on this guy real quick. Sometimes you'll do trees a little differently. And as far as this one goes, I already know I don't want these big tall branches, so I'm going to get them out of the way. Now I may leave this little nub here because I'm thinking about, you know me, creating deadwood. But I know I don't want this branch, and I know this one completely is going to come off. So I'm going to chop those 2 guys. Now I'll come in and see how far down I can get the roots. We're dealing with a real little tree at the bottom. But we're going to get this guy and see how little roots, how small a pot we can get him in. Alright, I'm going to show you. This guy like has hardly no roots directly under. This thing was just pretty much planted up in bark. There's just all these chunks of bark make up the majority of the soil. All I see is this bark and roots. That's all I see. Straight, but mainly bark, not enough small particles. But anyway, might be enough there. I need to clear it out, get it wet before it dries out what is left, and see what we have here. Alright, there's number 2 down. So right here is probably going to be a front. I was thinking right there, but the way it fit in the pot, we can always change it next year, repot it. But we're going to go with that for now. We're still going to trim some of this up, but we're going to get the others potted up. Since this guy does have some red, I'm going to try to get him into this, since the colors almost kind of match and will go together. I'm going to try to get this guy into the littler pot here, the actual bonsai pot. And this holly we'll just stick in the little terracotta pot for now. And just like with the other guys, first thing we'll do is get this one pulled up and out of the pot and see what we're working with. As you can tell, it'll probably, half that stuff will just fall out everywhere. But we want to see what we're working with in here. He's got a crazy trunk that, I'm sure you guys can see, that goes straight down and then back out, which it actually looks pretty cool. And we've got a plant living in here with him. Get that guy out of there. So that's actually a cool feature. We may try to leave that. This tree is kind of like that other, one of my other favorites. It's not so much up in here, has great movement yet, but down below, right around the roots and the very bottom of the tree already has a cool feature going. So, and of course, what would a bass and bonsai video be without worms? We've got 2 here. These aren't as lively. These must not be bonsai worms. You could use them for bait. We're just going to toss them out of the way. This guy's going. I'm going to leave that, but I do want to try it. I don't want it to touch the ground. I want to try to cut some of these roots off at the top, so we can add some height to the tree right through here. I think it really just depends on how these were potted. Originally, if you want to start, working from the top and then cutting down, getting it to its widest point for the best angle, or some trees that this is already kind of washed out and you're already starting to see the roots, to where you'll just want to come in here somewhere and just about the depth you want and cut the roots off. You can go from that angle. Definitely got a pretty wild looking tree. I was going to try to get it down to the point where we can see these 2 are actually one tree, not just 2 trees going real close together, which is a possibility. I could take that one completely out. Sit in there whichever way we want it, and that'll be good for now. But before I go sticking it all in there, I'm going to go ahead, I'll keep the roots wet, and I'm going to go ahead and cut out the parts of the tree that I don't want. Now the main feature we're going to keep for sure, it's got this cool twisted branch. We've got, if you remember, up in here is where the soil was. We've got it down, we widened the trunk, added some other stuff. Probably somewhere right in here at a pitch back angle will probably be the soil level. Just exposing this root maybe will give it a very interesting wide cool trunk. Still haven't figured out a front, but now I'm going to start trimming out these long straight branches that I know for sure I don't want. Anything I know for sure I don't want is coming out. And this guy, just because you see it's intertwined with this one and it's coming straight out and it's real long, so I will cut it off. Some way or another. So we'll take that guy out. And we'll keep doing that until we're happy with where we want it, and then we'll see where this guy ends up being. This real long one, I know I don't want for sure. Take it out, take it off. Right there. Although this one, I like the growth, but it's almost too much now that I've taken all this off the other one. I think that one's about broke anyway. Alright, we're done with this guy for now. Add just a little bit of moss to the back. I had to pick a front. Somewhere in here could be a front. It's kind of got a weird angle. You got the other tree, but kind of from here you can kind of make out there's another tree. So right in here as of right now would be what I would call the front. But this one's done. Let's go to the last one, which is this guy. All right, this guy we're going to start out the same way. I'm going to get him up out of his pot, work the roots down from the top, and we'll see what we end up with. We are almost done. These two are pretty much done, but we're going to still do a little cutting on these two bigger ones, and then we'll be done. All right, for this guy, we want it to be a little tree, so we're going to cut Unfortunately, I let this thing sit around too long before I started working on it. We're just going to cut it down, and we'll probably, whoa, these things are dirty. I'm going to cut it back, and then I'll probably cut it back again for now. And then it'll probably back bud over in here, and we'll have another limb or two that isn't growing straight up we'll start working on. Part of me wants to just cut everything but that. You see this little bitty guy right here? Part of me wants to just go clip right there and clip that off and let that little bitty guy just start all over. I'll turn this thing here into deadwood and have a cool little, but maybe next year I still might do something like that, put it in a smaller pot this time next year. So let's go to the last one. Now this guy, he already has a pretty natural and cool windswept thing going on, so I'm actually just going to leave this. This tree has all been just naturally created. I just basically found it, stuck it in this pot, which I think the colors match real good. It's just got a cool look going, so instead of trying to restyle it, reshape, I don't want to overthink it. I'm just going to take, if you can see these shoots like here, anything that's growing back away from the windswept, like this guy, and I'm just going to clip that stuff that it's either straight or coming the opposite way. Anything going this way I'm going to leave, and we're just going to let it grow out like that. And speaking of wind, and see what we end up with, because this thing already just has a cool look. This I think is died off, and it's just going to end up being a cool looking tree, all pretty much on its own, other than just some pruning, kind of just ever slightly some clip and grow. So that's what I'm going to do here. Take this guy off. This guy, I think I'll pull this one out. It was kind of growing down. I think I'll clip it back. I think I'm going to leave that one because it's kind of blown that way, and then I'm going to clip this one here. I'm going to clip this one off. I'm going to cut that one back some, and I will some of these that are kind of straight up, going forward. I'll clip off. I think I'm actually going to leave this one. It's kind of going around. This one here started to go back. I'm going to clip this guy off. I'll shorten up these just a hair in the back also. Put that guy like that. Alright, I'm going to keep doing that. Just a few more to do. Not really a lot. Like some of these guys I'll get rid of. This guy here, I'll leave those. This guy here is kind of coming straight up, so take him off. I think there's another one over here doing the same thing. Now you have to be careful, these do have thorns. This guy that's going kind of up. This one too. Just want everything to have a windswept look. There's this one. There. And I'll probably wait till... Okay, everybody, we are going to call her quits on these trees. I hope you like this video. Let's get down and look at the trees. But they all came out looking cool. If I had to pick a favorite, still this guy. That guy is just naturally a cool tree. This one's also going to be a cool tree. Still needs a little more branch work. We had to cut the two that go straight up off. This one actually came out better than expected. I worked down the roots and the surface roots to get to this, widen the trunk out. It's got a cool look going too. And then of course these Japanese hollies always come out with a kind of a cool look going on them. So anyway, hope you like that styling video just down at the lake. Figured I'd get these guys done up. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, help keep sharing the channel. And like always, guys, thanks for watching. Now get out of here and go bass and bone.